Welcome to the Whole Man Academy podcast. We cut the bullshit and get real about building your ideal life. If you're done with settling and you've got the guts to aim higher, you're in the right place. We bring you ideas, strategies, straight talk, and real stories from guys who are living life on their terms. Men who refuse to settle for mediocrity. They're here to share the raw truth about what it takes to break free from the mundane and step up your game. Why? Because the world needs strong men now more than ever. And it all starts here at the Whole Man Academy.
Okay, so this is the Whole Man Academy podcast, episode 141. My guest today, it's taken me 14 years to get him on the podcast. Sounds ridiculous, but I'll explain that. He's known as UK's #1 motivational business speaker, but I know you're a lot more than that. Brad, first off, how are you and where are you, brother?
Kicking ass, and I'm over in Somerset. I originally from Manchester, but I got bored getting shot at. So now I live, the only thing that gets shot around here is grouse.
Well, I'll take you and me back to, over a decade ago when we first time I saw you speak properly. And I think I'd heard you on a podcast. It was at one of the London Real events in London.
Oh, right, yeah, I remember.
And what I liked there was, and funny, I saw it on your website where you were spectacularly direct. And I know, and you know, especially for me dealing with a lot of men, that some people can't handle the direct approach and other people lap it up and love it. They need a kick up the arse. But take me back to, let's say, the younger Brad, let's say the 20-year-old Brad living where you were with what happened. And although you don't need to unpack it for ages, because I know it's one of those, it could be a long story, but in a nutshell for the guys to understand like how you started off with, let's say, adversity to like where you are now.
Well, listen, I think just to put your mind at ease, I'm from Salford, do have a shaved head, do have tattoos, but don't worry, I'm not a drug dealer anymore. But we can all change, and I think that's what I'm living proof of that. And I go back down to that time, and I'm not going into specifics, but needless to say, I was in the hanging out with the wrong crowd, which actually at the time, to be honest, was probably the right crowd. It was certainly the fun crowd, and and I think it was interesting. As a fish will only grow as big as its fish tank, and back then my vision was pretty low. My the biggest aspirations that I could have was having a semi-detached council house with a an XR3i and a cat backwards. That was as good as it got for a kid like me. And I was always a class clown, left school with no qualifications. I got involved in the rave scene, great fun, by the way. I wouldn't necessarily want my kids doing it, but nonetheless, great fun back in. No, but it was. And I left school with no qualifications. Dad left when I was 6 months old. Mum brought me up as a single parent. Look, I'm a motivational speaker. I'm supposed to have a sob story. But and then got shot at 21-year-old, and it caused me to kind of move away. And what was really interesting about moving away is I had to just forget who I once was. I had to let go of everything, where I lived, all my friends, everything. I had to kind of start again. And I moved to Somerset, kind of reluctantly. And I remember thinking to myself, "Oh, this isn't very rock and roll. It's a bit shit. I don't want to be here." And I think there's been a lesson throughout all that, which is in life you're going to have situations and circumstances that you're not necessarily happy about, or it should have been different, it could have been different, it would have been different, but it's not.
Yeah.
And actually at some point throughout all that, you need to accept that you are where you are, and that applies mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually. You need to accept where you are, and only when you can accept where you are, only then can you start rebuilding your life, which is exactly what I've done. And at 31 years old, that was my original kind of version of myself. In fact, I'll shut up. You're the interviewer. I'm gone.
What I always find funny with interviews, I interviewed a guy the other day, and we were talking about trauma, and if you accidentally traumatize your kids, I think most people accidentally traumatize their kids, or if you have, and for you, I always think it's the resilience of that thing where you have shots fired and it doesn't really matter where they were going. The point is that if you're around that is a chance of imminent danger for you. And I wondered then, it's interesting, why Somerset? Why relocate to there?
Couple of reasons. One, closed my eyes, got a pin, dink. True story. Bristol. Yeah. And actually, I then realised that actually my mum had been to a place called Weston-super-Mare, and actually it's a seaside resort. And actually, I was on benefits, so I thought to myself, you know what? If you're going to be on the dole, why don't you be on the dole while I see? And that's exactly what happened.
And this is why it's interesting, because sometimes you can never. It's like a domino effect. You never know the connecting things going forwards. Right. And I wonder if you, at what point then, because how do you go from being on benefits, kind of basically escaping where you'd been, to suddenly reinventing yourself as a motivational speaker? Because it's not an obvious move. You don't see many people go, do you know what I think I do? Fuck it, I'll do motivational speaking.
So what happened when I was 31-year-old? I told my employer to shove the job up their arse. I got myself a job. I was working over in London, and the company I was working for, I blagged myself as a job as a head of marketing, right? And you think, how did this kid do that? When I was 26 years old, I blagged myself as a job as a shop manager of a computer game shop. I'm a big gamer. I've been gamer for 40 odd years. So I understand there's two things I'm really knowledgeable on: computer games and UFOs. They're my kind of interest, right? I'm really like no joke, like exceptional. I'd put myself up against anyone on those two subjects.
Fantastic.
So, yeah. So I was into computer games, blagged my way into a job. Now this is where it gets really interesting about what you just said a second ago. When I was 26 years old, I shacked up with a girl over in Somerset, Martina. Thank you. And what happened with Martina was I went for a job at this shop and I got a application form. Now my writing is terrible, like terrible. A good example of it there, right? My writing is terrible. I should have been a doctor. And they give me an application form. I didn't fill it in because my writing is terrible. And what happened, unbeknown to me, the girlfriend at the time, she filled it in and submitted it.
All right.
Amazing. Now I would not be talking to you right now if she hadn't done that. True story. So she fills that in. I get an interview. I blagged my way to a job as a shop manager. I had a previous experience in shops, retail, 8 years prior. And I smashes it to pieces in terms of my ability as a shop manager. They had 12 stores at the time, independent computer game store. And they had a Bristol store, which is twice the size of mine, next to McDonald's, and I was outpacing them. And they're thinking, what is this guy doing? So, and what I was doing, it was almost like a pit boss. So I always had a good vision. I would stand at the end of on the Saturday at the door, and as people would come in, hello, buddy, how you doing? So straight away, there was a vibe. And then they'd go and pick up a game. Oh, FIFA 97, they'd have it in the hand. So I'd be on my guys, boom, boom, boom. They'd go up to them. Played that last night. Oh, the banana kicks it, boom. Oh, can I help you at all, sir? So anyway, with that,
I ended up rapport building.
Absolutely. So, that was a natural thing. I ended up being promoted to regional manager of the 12 stores. And it's completely, anyway, with that, I then got a job during the dot-com boom as a head of marketing for an ISP, UK Online, blagged my way into that job. And then, anyway, so bottom line was that I blagged my way to a head of marketing for a security company over in London. And they asked me to put a marketing report together. I spent 3 days on it and then delivered this marketing report. And they went, oh, shit, we tried that in 1977. We did this, that, and everything. I went, you know what? Why am I wasting my time? I said, you know what? Shove your job up your ass. And I walked out on December the 18th, 2004. And I think it's fair to say my wife was delighted with that decision. 25 grand in debt, newborn boy, baby Ben, and no idea what I was doing. She said to me, why couldn't you keep your mouth shut for 5 days and get your Christmas pay? She had a point. You know what? The thing is, when I started my business, there was like, low sales, no sales, depression. And in my case, a whinging wife. There's no book on that. There is now. Get off your ass. But look, the bottom line was I wrote that back in the day. And, it's like a Bible for what it's like to start a business off. So I started my business off as a marketing business. Then I went to this business networking stuff. I don't know if you've ever been to a networking event, but I went to business networking events, didn't like what a loony left did, didn't like what a hard right did. Where was the mainstream of networking? I started an organization called For Networking, 25 grand in debt. Nobody gave me a chance. And I ended up becoming a organization that generated millions in revenue. And I've run 68,000 business networking meetings in the UK. Not bad for a thick fucker from Salford. And I think that's the point. I think that's the point, is that somewhere along the way, there's a good version of us and there's a not so good version of us. And more often than not, we don't engage it. Oh, the reason I can't work anything out is because, what happened when I was 6, my dad locked me in a coal shed, or I'm a working class lad, or I'm a Salford lad, I've got no qualifications, or bollocks. So with that, I started my networking business. And every time I'd had to go to a networking, we'd launched all these meetings over the course of 16 years. Every time people would say, oh, I'm the founder, people would want to hear me speak. I'd never fucking done any public speaking. And when I first started, I used to speak like, SEO on arcade, yeah, nice one. And actually people couldn't understand me. And I think to myself, would I get booked on an international level if I still talk like this? No. So I had to change that. I had to change how I spoke, right? Still me, but I had to change how I spoke. I had to change how I delivered. I had to change the entire approach. And it's funny because when I first moved from Salford down to Somerset, I'd walk around with a fucking scowl. What are you looking at, you knobhead? That kind of mentality to protect myself from this threat that doesn't exist, because I'm still living the Salford threat. So I'd walk around like that, and it just and look, we are what we think. If you want to change your life, change how you think.
I wondered for you, at what point did you start to think, you know, with, let's say, with launching the business of the networking, at what point did you think this is working, as opposed to, because I know people, I know how hard it is to run your own business, especially even if you've got loads of support, let alone if you're in debt, you've moved away, different place, what have you. At what point did you think, okay, this is something that I, you know, can make a career out of?
So the first year in my network in 2006, we launched 11 groups. Second year was up to 24. Third year, 56. Year 4, 120. Year 5, 200 groups nationally. And I remember driving from my house, Somerset, all the way to Manchester, and every single motorway junction, we had one of my 4 networking there. And I'm thinking, fucking hell. And that was it. That was the moment when I drove from my house 200 miles away, and every single junction, Gloucester, you know, Gloucester, Cirencester, Swindon, Reddit, every one of them. And I'm like, fucking hell, everyone. And it was just, and that was an absolute turning point for me.
What did that feel like? Because I wonder, you know, growing up in a, let's say, a poor area, and I've lived in a council house when I was young, and, you know, the people around you, you're not exactly filled with aspirational people necessarily, and, you know, stories. Most people are kind of settling for what they've got. So I wondered for you, like, at what point, not necessarily did you feel like you made it, but at what point did you feel like you've not just made the right decision, but like life had turned a corner and you were basically a different version of Brad?
So it's really interesting. I'm going to try and call something up if I can. So I don't know if we can share it, but really interesting in that you never quite get there. You're always there. And this is the problem, I think, is the curse of modern day living. That we're all heading towards a horizon that can never be reached, right? Yeah. And it's always, you get a 40-inch television. Oh, you get a 40, now you want a 60. And now you want an 80. Now you want 100. Now you want a 100-inch curved. Now you need to have a fucking home cinema system. And I got a friend of mine over in London that's got a home cinema system. And I went to see him. He's got an amazing big property. Fucking text me down to the cellar, the basement. Turns the fucking lights on. Bink, 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 bink. He's got a 30-seat cinema, you know, red crushed velvet popcorn machine that's probably been fucking put on once. You know, and I said to him, I said, oh, you know what you need now, Steve? This is amazing. He said, what's that? I said, 28 fucking mates.
Yeah.
And we end up chasing shit that doesn't matter. That fucking matter. Right? Yeah. Trying to impress people that don't give a toss. And this is the bit, and I look at me as an individual, and I've done well from a materialistic fucking perspective. I've done really fucking well back in the day, like really well, you know. But you never, in my view, when you're in that game, you're always heading towards this horizon that can never be reached. It's always the next fucking thing. Now I've got to the point in my life where that's not the case. I'm content. I'm at a level, and I think that's what true success is: being content with where you are, with what you've got, as opposed to always want. And it just doesn't mean by all means be ambitious. Be driven, but you need to be happy. And when your drive and ambition is causing you to be unhappy, then maybe, just maybe, you found your level, because we can't all be Elon Musk. And I think that what we've got to do is we've got to find who and what we stand for, not what Instagram tells us we should be. You need to go and get a fucking Patek watch, or what the fuck they call it, watch. Right? But, you know, this is the thing. What society tells you that success is, you need to determine what success is for you. And if success is for you is sitting on your house playing computer games, smoking bongs, that's okay. It's your fucking life. If you choose it, what you need to do is you need to go to the gym and get a 5 a.m. club and do ice baths. If you want to do that, do that. If you want to sit there and get stoned on bongs, playing computer games, fucking do that as well. It's your life. And I think where people go wrong is you're trying to allow other people to dictate their life. So in answer to that question, you know, there's numerous times throughout the years where I felt I'd made it. There's lots of significant things. Probably the most significant thing was when I did ZeroCon, which was a 3,000 people in the audience, main stage, opened the show, and you know, people were kind of willing me to fail, some people, and I smashed it to fucking pieces. You know, it was a Conor McGregor type presentation, and it's available on YouTube, Brad Burton ZeroCon, XEROCON. But you know, that was just significant. And I remember there's a bit at the end, and I didn't realize as the cameraman was going round me, he rotated round me on stage when I was saying things. And as he comes round, I didn't realize he was going to do it. As he comes round, or whatever it is here, there's an almighty breath. And I'd have ruined the shot, but I realized he was there, and you can just see it. I recognize, and I'm just about to go, what the fuck? And I realized it. So that was probably the greatest. It's going to be one of them ones at my wake that'll hopefully be played in silence so people can see. Do you know what I mean? It's a massive significance. So I've come from where I've come from to be at the stage of one of the biggest stages in the UK for speaking.
I think that's always great. It's those reminders. And I know with a lot of the guys through the Whole Man Academy, it's trying to remind them to enjoy the journey.
Oh, big
And
time.
I've seen so many guys through, even that I used to work with in the city, or guys who've connected with that are caught by the trappings of success. And it's like, you know, when you've got a BMW, you want the Mercedes. When you got the Mercedes, you want the Porsche, and you want the holidays in Miami and all the things, which are all interesting and nice to have. But you know, most people in the end actually, from what I understand, value like experiences and freedom, which I think is one that I didn't think about in my 20s and mid 30s until I started getting into personal development.
Well, you just focused on this, you know,
Yeah.
shagging, drinking, getting drugged up. No. It's just this. I get it. You know, I think from my perspective, I call it success. Success. Because I'm telling you something, I work with people and I've spoken to them who've got fucking everything, but they've got nothing. They've got everything, yet they feel they've got fucking nothing. And that is like, that's mind blowing. All the trappings of success, kids are all in private schools, but they're empty. You know, a real turning point for me in this whole thought was I remember driving along many moons ago, and you could Google it and you'll find out exactly when. But I was driving along, and there was a story on Today program or whatever, and it said the CEO of American Express has just been medical whatever he's on his private jet going to a meeting, and they've had to do a medical detour because he's had a heart attack. 2 minutes later, guess what? He's died, 55-year-old. Now, if he knew he was going to die that day, do you reckon he'd have been on a fucking plane? No, he wouldn't have. No, none of us know when we're going to die. This is the fucking thing. You know, none of us know when we're going to die. I'm 17,896 days in on this planet. I've got no idea what that figure tots out at. And we spend too much time worrying about the next fucking 5 years or the next 10 years. What about the next fucking 5 days, the next 5 hours? And if we all focused on, and that's, I think, where a lot of the problems come from in life, is this expectation about what your life is. You know, I had some IFA telling me, oh, well, you need to get you. And the way he was selling me was beautiful. I mean, in that, I knew he was a fucking wheeze, and I was just sat there, oh, okay. And he went, you know, so how much do you earn at the moment? X figure. Oh, okay. So when you're 65, you'd want to sort of earn that kind of figure, wouldn't you? And it's like, not really, no, because when I'm 65, I'm going to be pottering around my fucking garden, not going to be asked about fucking driving, doing donuts in Lamborghinis, and that's it. And they try to sell you that you need a pension pot of 3 million quid and what you need to do. Mate, I've got my dad went at 53. I'm 51.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got 2 years left. Do you think I give a fuck about fucking worrying about something in 10 years' time? And this is the bit with it all. I just think we spend too much time worrying about a future that doesn't exist. Dealing real.
I like the message because, again, it's for a lot of the guys, you can be caught up in the Instagrammable, you know, that you can follow a very few, you know, a few influencers, let's say, be it men or women, who seem to have the perfect life. And as you know, the more you know these people, the more you end up, some of them are the more fucked up people than you've ever met, to be honest.
Anthony, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to be really honest, right?
Yep.
We're amongst friends now. If you have a perfect life, and I'll apply this, if you have a perfect life, put your hand up now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have a perfect business, put your hand up now. If you've gone on fucking Instagram, put your hand up if you've seen perfect lives and perfect fucking businesses. Right? They don't fucking exist. So anyone that I know, no matter how sensible, wherever they are in the world, I've asked that question. Right? I've asked that question and staged up and down the land, up and down the fucking world. And never you get one mental who puts their hand up on a cake.
One idiot at the back.
You always get one, right? But in the round, perfect lives and perfect businesses and perfect jobs and careers don't exist. Yet it's painted on social media, and everywhere you fucking look, stop it.
It's the selective sharing, isn't it? And I found that really interesting when I stood back and looked. The more I actually got annoyed by people who you kind of maybe knew them and you knew they weren't doing so well, but they were projecting that fake image. And I wondered, because there's two avenues there with social media, because I guess it's a tool that can help you reach more people, but it's also a tool that can, if you allow it, to kind of drain your time and fuck you up a bit. What's your relationship like with social media, and how's it changed?
Oh, you know, so I'm a former drug addict, right? And cocaine, by the way, just so you know, right? Back in the day, fucking hell, loved it. It was great. But you know, it catches up with you. It catches up with you, and it starts becoming fucking fun. And I think that's what's happened with social media. Woo! Oh my God, this is amazing. This is fucking amazing. I can connect with all my friends. And the next thing, the fun drops out of it, and you're still fucking conditioned. It is digital drugs. This is what this shit is, digital fucking drugs. You know, my screen time's 14 hours a day. What the fuck? That is fucking bonkers. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I'm supposed to be making changes,
Yeah.
right? But then I kid myself. Oh, it's for
It's for work.
And actually, it's fucking not. And it's just a little nice little dopamine hit. So in answer to that question, I've deleted the app. So Instagram gets deleted during the week. So I don't really use it then. I've just deleted this morning, or on Monday, yesterday, X, Twitter app. Now, saying that, I've been on Twitter fucking 10 times this morning, but having to go via the website, which is slower and clunkier. And I'm just trying to make it slightly more uncomfortable. Look, I don't have all the answers on this one. I'd love to say, yeah, guess what? I bought one of those things that allows you to put the phone in a box for an hour. It's just, listen, the reality is, I think that we're going to look back at social media in many, many moons' time in the same way that we look at fucking cigarettes and we look at asbestos. This shit is caustic. And I'll tell you something, we are what we hear, what we see, what we eat and what we fucking see. And we are seeing shit on social fucking media that you're the only person in this world that has ever seen the world like you. The only person. So when somebody sees the world as I do it, and you're arguing with somebody on social media, I don't do it, but you're arguing with somebody, they're looking at it from their perspective, from what happened to them as a kid, or what they think, or what they see, or what they read. So everyone's trying to get everyone else to convert them to their way of fucking thought. And actually, no wonder we're all fucked up in the world. With the amount of division that is going on, red versus fucking blue, black versus fucking white, fucking, Labour versus Conservatives, fucking Trump. It's fucked up. Everyone's combative. And if everyone just got on with their own fucking life and got on with their own shit, and whilst people are saying, well, you need to do that, you need to do that, you need to do that, what do you need to fucking do? And that's what I think we need to fucking suss out. We need to spend more time on ourselves than we do on other people's fucking problems.
I think you're spot on, because I look at it this way, like no matter, and we all see things that are triggering. I was a big one to talk out against lockdowns, because you could see what it's going to do to all sectors of society. But you realize that there's no comment you're going to make that the other person is going to go, do you know what? You're right. Thank you so much. I've changed my total opinion on this. Well, thank you for your comment.
Well, I say to people, fucking put your hand up if you had a fucking argument on social media. I said, keep your hand up if you've won an argument on social media. This is, so we're wasting time. We're wasting time on bullshit that doesn't matter. And this is the bit, we spend so much time about the past. Oh, what happened in Salford? Fucking bastards shouldn't have done what they did. Right, but they did. Unlucky, get over it. Right? Fucking that's the past, causes us to be depressed. The future, what happens if there's a World War fucking 3? Anxious. Past, depressed. Future, anxious. What the fuck? Now, that's it. Now, this is good. Outside of this, shit starts popping off.
That's where there's a chap I interviewed on the podcast, which is probably for comments and likes, the most popular one I'd ever done a couple of years ago. And he said that a big contributing factor to that is the media, because they're basically their job is to create dread, because it's always this might happen, this could happen, what have you. And I advise all guys generally to try and at least take a step back from social media and what have you.
So I'm 2.5 years in of no news. All right, I'll say that. I did 2 hours prior to Trump getting shot, and this is quite interesting. Prior to Trump getting shot at, I'd done 2 hours or 2.5 hours in 2.5 years. Right? I'd gone on no fucking news channels, no fucking website, nothing. Trump gets fucking whacked. I've gone right into fucking dingy mode, straight back to fucking 2 hours here, 3 hours watching rolling fucking news, this, that, and the other, and then I've installed the fucking app. I've had to uninstall it again. So I've done more news in the last 2.5 weeks than I had the 2.5 years prior. And this just shows you how this shit's captivating. I know there's some bits and bobs going on in the last 24 hours. I've not got involved in it. I know very little about it, but once again, social media, wherever you look, people are putting their view and framework on it, trying to convince people. But what it's doing is creating this whole discombobulation of society. And I think that if you look at this whole world, back in the old days, if I thought you was a prick and we met at a conference, it wouldn't get much traction in terms of me being able to say you're a prick. But social media, I can go on there and I can get all my friends that it's like it's almost like we're encouraging digital witch hunts right now.
That's where taking time off. Funny, Emma, my partner, took our 3 boys all the way to a home ed camp in Oxfordshire last week. And so from Monday to Friday, she didn't touch her phone once, apart from to message once to say, we're all fine. And when she came back on the Friday, she was like, you have no idea how lovely it was to not look at emails, WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, and not even think, just have a quick look whilst the kids aren't doing stuff. And I think that's something that most of us miss.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, one of the big things I know for men is about being able to adapt. Obviously, you did, but take me to 2019. How was your business? To then 2020 when lockdowns happened? Because, you know, we spoke previously, but it was the same for us on a different scale. But, you know, I'd hosted, don't know, 9, 10 events in London in 2019, building up good momentum, and then it all went to shit. And it's very hard to, you can't just recreate momentum overnight, in my view anyway, or I've yet to find out how. So I wondered, the snapshot of 2019 to then adapting to 2020 and onwards.
Yeah. So we were running 5,000 business networking meetings in the UK every single year in 2019, right? Like every single year. So, you know, effectively 200, 250 anywhere every fortnight in the UK. And then 4 months later, I did that big presentation, which is fabulous, that Zero.com. 4 months later, that was it. Lockdown. My business dropped. I've spent 14 years at that point building it. Momentum gone, 90% off overnight. And we moved fast. We was the first ever network to do online networking. So we kind of used Zoom as a platform. We had our format already, our script, and we went. But here's the thing. So, you know, it was quite good at first. I say good, it wasn't great, but we managed to, there was quite an excitement originally. But the problem is that network that I'd built up. So if you think of a gym, for people who don't know, think about gyms, right? You've got all these gyms there and they're all connected. So I can go to Virgin Active here, Virgin Active there, Virgin Active there. So, you know, it's solid. So if this one goes as a branch, it's fine because there's another one on the road. Yeah. That's what mine was like. So we had this unique format which allowed members to go everywhere. So we had created a national network over 14 years. Then what would happen is we created this, the online bit, and everyone just copied our format. So every competitive advantage, it made no difference who was on the other side of it wasn't, you know, Salford, it wasn't Manchester, it wasn't Reading, it was just online calling it Reading. So everyone was doing it. So everyone undercut the market and just fucked it. So my entire business model was decimated overnight. And look, you know, everything happens for a reason, even the shitty stuff. And I think about myself, which is why I'm here now. You know, I go back to the worst day of my life over in Salford back in January 2nd, 1995. And if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here now. And actually, with the network going, my business for networking going, I'm now focused on team building and what have you. And it's like, yeah, everything's good, man. And I tell you, I got myself off that hamster wheel as well. I got myself off that hamster wheel of actually, you know, a couple of £1 million business. I'm actually making more money now as a one-man band, which doesn't make any fucking sense. At 15 staff. So I'm making more money now as a one-man band.
Yeah.
And yet I'm not.
It's funny. I actually spoke to someone the other day who has founded a company that's part of Formula One, let's say, and the engineering side. And when they first started it, it was a very lean, mean, a couple of guys, and, you know, you could make decisions. Absolutely. But because they've needed to grow, because they've got bigger orders, they've now grown to 17 people. But as you know, now you need people to manage the people. And you need to make enough money to pay the people a year's salary to manage the people. And you end up not doing what you enjoyed, you deal with the people.
That's right. And you've come from being a market trader now to a managing director. And actually, you know, some people are probably better placed as marketing directors. Sorry, market traders. There you go. So, you know, look, it's been an up and down. But look, what I've always done is I've always reinvented myself. And that's what you've got to do as human beings. The version of you at this exact second is a different version to the one that started 25 minutes ago. Yeah. And that's what you need to understand. And you go, oh, shut up. I'm telling you, there'll be something that I've said today that would have shaped you in some way and moved your position. Actually, next time you come to make a decision, you would have done it that way if you'd not heard something, and now you can do it that way. This is what I look around your office and look around my office. Everything, in fact, as audience members, look around your office, and everything that you see was once an idea in somebody's brain, right? It was once an idea in somebody's brain. And the reason that what you need to recognize, right, is that best one ever, by the way, Judge Burton, right? Or my Knight Rider car.
Yeah, the important stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. Or my James Bond car. But the point I'm making is this, is that everything that you see in the physical world was in somebody's brain at one point. It was an idea. So in order for you to make the life, and this is manifestation, right? If you want to make the life, you want to go and live in a house and you want to it's got to start here. And you've got to believe it. So when I started my network off, my wife kind of said, oh, you know, you can't do that. We've got no money in the bank, laughed and said, you've got no investment. And I did it because I had this 100% unwavering, misguided self-belief. And that's what you've got to have. So in order for you to get the life that you want and the success and live the life, oh, what are we 3 stone heavier? Well, stop eating fucking cakes and go for a walk a day, or stop talking about it.
Yeah, do something about it.
Yeah, right. You know, and this is the thing, you've only got to look at gyms in January. Studied with people who fucking signed up direct debits, and they think and people say no pain, no gain. It's no pain, no gain. Right? It's the signing the thing, the direct debit. You think that's the pain? It's not. The pain's going 4 times a week. You know, I've been training now for 20 years. I'm the Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? But the point I'm making is that, you know, oh, well, don't want to become like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, take it from me. I've been 20 fucking years.
Good luck with that.
Right? And I think that, and this is, oh, you know, I don't want to look like, yeah, trust me, you're not going to. But the point I'm making, 20 years, I was 4 stone heavier, actually 52 pound heavier. I worked out the other day, 52 pound heavier. And you go onto YouTube and you'll find me on there. Brad Burton, working lunch, go and have a look. 50, this is me, 2010, 14 years ago. So I was 14 years younger. I'm 51 now. I was 34 and I look older. I was fatter. So it's taken me years to get my weight off and to sustain the weight off as well.
Yeah. And I think as we get older, it does seem to get harder, you know, because when I was in my 20s, I was motivated. I went to the gym 5 days a week. And the old saying, you did the curls.
Yeah.
And then when you've got 3 kids and you get woken up and, you know, various stuff goes on. I mean, I got to a stage where I stopped playing football because I just got, after years and years of playing, I just, you know, like fell out of love with it. But I realized I needed something to replace it with, you know, because the weekends were just nothing and I needed something to train. So I started doing obstacle course races, which is probably might have been around the time that I'd come to those events. I started going to them and ended up getting to the World Championships in America. And for me, it was that people would say, oh, I don't know how you can be bothered with the training. And I said, because I need something to motivate me to stay in shape, because otherwise it's easy to just drift, if that makes sense.
You know, Anthony, you look at this, that you and I are now talking as a result of a chance meeting 14 years ago, whenever it be. Yeah. So if you think about it, I'll talk about it, and you did mention it a long tail, but this is the thing, is that there was something in this conversation today that will hopefully change someone's outlook, or they'll go, you know what? Well, I'm 40 pounds too heavy. Oh, so we was 52. And look, the reality is the life that you want starts here. You get this right? Because people try to change their life. Don't change this. Change this, you'll change your life. People have been pushing the fucking, or pulling the fucking couch the wrong side from the wrong end. I'm telling you, the way I changed my life was by changing how I think about myself and how my own personal kind of avatar about who and what I am. Change that.
Where do you think, well, actually, we'll come back to that question. I was going to ask, you know, I'm a big believer in having a network of people around you, be it men, be it anybody that can kind of help you. Have you had anybody or various people that have kind of, you've been able to talk to or throw ideas at, mentorship or anything throughout the years?
Yeah. So, you know, I've got a guy, Gary Turner. I've got a mentor of mine right now, and I'm speaking to him today at 1 o'clock or thereabouts. You know, so this is what happens, is, and it's, there's certain mentors are great for certain things. And that's the bit, that whole bit piece about, you know, I don't sit on calls for hours. I'll go on there and ask a question 5 minutes, and now I'm further forward because I trust this individual's view. He will say to me, and I mentor people, and I talk them through. Best way through a minefield is by following some fucker who's going through a minefield. But yeah, mentors need mentors, 100%.
What do you think the common, let's say with the men over the years you've dealt with, are there a few common things that men struggle with? Like, for example, confidence could be a gateway one.
Yeah, 2 of them. Well, there's 2 things. If you said to me, what are the ones? Self-confidence and sales, right? And actually, They're one in the same. They're one in the same. And, you know, I had someone the other day who's like a professional, you know, sales director or whatever, and he's looking for a job. And I said to him, I said, do you not see the irony on this? So you're a fucking sales director and you're looking for a fucking job. You know, intrinsically at its core, it's kind of rattling me, and I kind of understand. So confidence is the one. Confidence is fundamentally at its core. So if you think about me right now, my confidence is, if I had to put it on a LED and say what my confidence is at right now, I'd say 91%, right? Yeah. Of where I'm at. If we was to lower that by 40%, would I be this guy? No. So the only way that I could be a motivational speaker, and bear in mind, I can't have a fucking bad day. I cannot have a bad day. I can't go on stage and go, oh, sorry, I'm shit today, everyone. I'm having a bad day. So what I've got to do is I've got to regulate my moods. I need to say, okay, on Thursday, fucking, I know where I'm at. So I need to genuinely keep it 5 out of 10 and then peak. So the old Brad, before I used to speak, I used to go and like listen to drum and bass and get myself full of energy. I'm not bothered anymore. Cool as a fucking cucumber. 30 seconds out, game time, boom, it's on. And it's like, this is all learned stuff. So, you know, my confidence, I mean, it's a strange profession where you've got to walk into a room full of strangers and win them over.
And impress them.
Impress them. But you know what I do is, as I lean into this, in that I go out there and whenever I speak on stage, I call it something the 3-33-33, which is this whole, when it comes to as a speaker, is what I train people. But when you come out, I've got 3 seconds for people to go, oh, to earn the right for the next 30. So when I come out the way that I do, Union Jack, fucking tattoos, fucking music, and fucking walking out like I'm 10 fucking men, they're either thinking, oh, this looks good, or what a knobhead. Either way, I'm good. Either way, I'm good. And then what I do, I've got the next 30 seconds to earn the right for the next 3 minutes. Hi guys, just let you know, I'm from Salford, Manchester, do have shaved head, do have tattoos, but don't worry, I'm not a drug dealer anymore. Ha ha. So now we've got either the drug dealer thing with a oof, and then the joke. So now what I do is, look, over the course of the next 4 days, what I'm going to talk about is, you're not talking for 4 days, you're talking for 45 minutes. So just woke them up again. So, you know, listen, over the next 4 days, 3 people awake. You know, what we're going to do for the next 45 minutes, my intent is to change your life, change your business, change your direction, positively forever. And you might think to yourself, yeah, go on then, ball there, motivate me. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to change your life. Change your life. Your entire life is going to get changed today in the next 44 minutes. So, boom. So now that's earned the right. They go, okay. So whether you think I'm a knobhead or not, and generally speaking, I kind of lean into that, is a knobhead for the first few minutes. And because people underestimate me. And it's great.
Got their attention.
And that's what it's about as a speaker. So you've got them there, and they're fucking sat there, go on, man. They go, oh, you know, it's all right. You there, your hands folded, sir. You know, you think to yourself, oh, go on then, Baldy, motivate me. And it's that, and it's just so, and that's what I bring in. And, you know, I've spoke over 2,000 times in public. And, you know, at no point did I turn around and my careers office and say, oh, I'd like to be a motivational speaker. So I kind of fell into it. And I think if you look at our lives, right, and our wives, we fell into that. Probably a better turn of phrase there, but nonetheless, you know, it's funny, isn't it? You know, my wife and I were a one-night stand. It was 25 years ago.
Yeah, I always think it's interesting actually how couples met, which is a different rabbit hole to go down. But I wondered, because I've done speaking, but obviously on smaller audiences.
Let me just answer that question because I think it's quite important.
Yeah,
you know how we met? Outside the fucking shop of that shop that I was working at.
Right.
So me and Martina, we separated, and then I met my wife outside the shop of that thing that I would not. So I would never, if she'd not done that, I would never got the job. I'd never done the career path. I'd never met my wife, all because someone filled in an application form and sent it on my behalf. We wouldn't be speaking now. I would never go to London Real.
Yeah.
And this
is funny, isn't it? It's that sliding doors moment,
mate. But this is the bonkers bit about your life. You as an individual right now that are watching this. Stop it. You've got no idea. You have no idea what the future holds for you. But you need to recognize that the future does hold something for you. Sorry.
No, it's a good point. And again, it's funny, isn't it? Because if you'd have said 14 years ago, for example, that because I used to love watching Brian's London Real podcasts, and that's probably what got me into personal development, because I then heard the words of Tony Robbins and various others. But probably back then, if you'd said, oh, in 10 years' time or 40 years' time, you'll live in the Cotswolds, you have 3 kids, you'll be 140 podcasts in, you'd be like, no, that can't happen at all. So it reminds you never know what's coming around the corner. I wanted to go back to, you said obviously that you basically grew up without a dad, but is it that you grew up without a father figure or without your dad?
So my father figure was my stepdad, ironically, for the first 7 years of my life, and they got divorced, mum and I, but still to this day called stepdad, dad, Frank. A great guy, and I'll tell you a story, and I'll give you an example. So my dad was quite violent, and I never caught for any of it. So my mum got me out of there. But anyway, when I was 1980, 81, so 6 or 7, I had a fight with a guy called Simon Wilkinson. He's been to my house since, which is lovely. So I had a fight with Simon Wilkinson outside on the school field, got on top of him, beat him up. It was a Saturday at a school fete or whatever. And I went back home to my stepdad and I went, Dad, I've just beat up Simon Wilkinson at a fight. Why do you think that's good?
Yeah.
Now, if I'd have gone back to my real dad, my dad would have said, "Oh, well done, son. Did you give him plenties and hit him with a fucking stick?"
Yeah.
Now, fundamentally, I'm telling you right now that I can track 3 things in my life, and I'm prepared to share them. 3 things in my life that have shaped who and what I am as a person, my personality. Because I think I would have grown up to be a violent guy. If it would have been with my dad, I would have grown up to be a violent guy. As it happens, I'm not. I just look like I can fight. I can't take the skin off a rice pudding, right? But the reality is that you know, that was one of those formative moments, and we have these, I call them insignificant or seemingly insignificant events that actually shape who we were. Another one is that the short version, 1977. The reason I know it was 1977 is because I'm a 4-year-old kid and there's bunting. Never seen bunting. It was the Queen's Silver Jubilee or whatever it was, right? 1977. And I also remember having a cake with a blueberry on it. I've never had a blueberry. I'm looking at it going, right? It's a 4-year-old. And there's the old street party and there's a jumble sale. And I've got a fuzzy felt farm set that I want to buy for 2p. It's got 2p. I've got my money in my hand. And as I'm queuing up, an old woman comes along, grabs it off, pays the 2p and pisses off. She has a headscarf on. And I think that moment shaped me to move fast. Because if you don't, somebody, and so if you look at this in terms of that's how I move fast. And I remember going to the travelling fair over in where I lived when I was like 8 or 9 years old. We used to go on the buses to Manchester at 9-year-old, no mobile phone, bonkers. But anyway, went to this travelling fair and spent all my money, and I've got 4p left, which is what it cost to get on the bus. So 3 mile away, me and Jimmy Green, pal of mine. And I think, oh, yeah, but what, hot dog? And I want to go on the bumper cars. I've only got 4p, which is my bus fare. I know. I'll go on the fruit machine. So now I'm putting 2p in, dink, 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 nothing. Right? I'm now walking home 3 hours, 3 miles or whatever it is, right? Me and Jimmy Green. So I've got 2p, got nothing to lose. Put it in there. 7, 7, 7. Won the jackpot on my last 2p. So I think that shaped me to think, 1, move fast. 2, you're a risk taker. And 3, life has a way of working itself out. So if you think about these kind of seemingly insignificant events that have shaped me as a character, almost lowered me up. Because if I'd have lost, would I be a risk taker? Probably not. If I would have, if I would have got the 2p thing, would I have moved fast? Probably not. Yeah. And this is what people need to understand, that every single day of your life, you're being molded to a new version of yourself. You know, your wife ends up cheating on you. Then all of a sudden, you're now looking at women differently or trusting it. So, you know, we just need to allow the world to shape us in a better way. That's what we need to do.
I think it's an interesting point because a lot of people can be, like we say, transfixed on, like we touched earlier, trying to lead the perfect life. And you realize, you know, we don't know what's in store for us. And it's funny because the whole Mad Academy started in 2018 was our first event, and people mistakenly thought it was all about mental health. And I would say that mental health is a segment of a man, you know, because you can have great mental health, but be fucking broke or fat, or you've got no relationship and stuff. Yeah. But I just wanted for you, I mean, let's talk about the mental health briefly. Like for men, I think the suicide stats are like, you know, they're three times more men than women like taking their own life. But not necessarily talk about the guys that are killing themselves, but the levels of depression stuff. What do you think could be some of the things that are causing guys to be living in that under a cloud, if that makes sense? And what can they do about it?
2 things here. Back in 2020, I had 4 seconds in my mind's eye, flashed up, kill yourself. Fucking bonkers. Came up.
Where were you?
Fucking dealing with this. The pandemic had come along. My business had, so I'd my life. I had the perfect life. Now, fucking through no fault of my own. So, oh, come on, Boris. Come on, Rishi. You need to start talking about. They've got their own fucking stuff to go on. See, this is the thing. So you can have the most perfect life. Now I had the perfect network. Perfect network. It was unbreakable. It was unbreakable. Because if Manchester Group went down, Stockport was here. Yeah. Right? So that would then show effects and it'd pop up like seeds in flowers. But all of a sudden, boom. So it was that, my identity. I've got a stalker. I don't know if did I mention the stalker?
No.
Do you know anything about this?
I know briefly because I read your stuff, but guys listening, because I think funny, this is another part of you never know what's going to come along, do you?
Okay, so 2 conversations here. I'll do the stalker thing. The stalker thing, 2019, January 2019, I run an event over in Aston Villa Football Club, 200 people there. Amazing event. Me, primary speaker, and 200 people there. And at the end of it, somebody comes up with somebody that I know, my creative designer, and says, "Oh, can you introduce me to this guy?" So this individual, female, wanted introducing to me. Met her for 30 seconds in a crowded room. She said, "Can you have a selfie?" That was it. Great. Boom. Nothing, no problems. 3 months later, on social media, this individual, I'm getting threatened. Oh, what is it, chick? Next thread. And it just kept, so this wasn't one thread, it just kept escalating. I'm being threatened. Oh, I don't know, shouldn't say anything. Oh, inbox me, chick. Oh, he's a high profile speaker. Oh, he's a high profile motivational speaker. And it just kept going. And then people were saying, "Oh, is it Brad Burton?" It just whisper campaign. Yeah, and we're getting death threats on a daily basis. He's poisoned my cat. I put a tracking device on. Sorry, he's put a tracking device on a laptop. He's putting my windows through every day. He's fucking, oi. And it gets even worse. It gets fucking worse. This just kept going and going and going. I've been called out at this point. My name is there in fucking thing and everyone. So I'm ignoring it, blocking, ignoring, which is what people tell you to do, the Susie Lampu Trust. Yeah. And I'm waking up to 20 messages. Have you seen what she's wrote about you today? Have you seen what she's wrote? Thousands of posts about me, thousands. And you can go onto LinkedIn and use the hashtag Brad Burton hashtag, and you will see. This individual has done a great, I mean, I've got to admire the approach. If you want to do a hatchet job on someone, beautiful. Anyway, this individual has now been arrested 4 times. They've now been charged. They've got 3 charges, malicious communications, harassment, and stalking, up to 8 years. So this is somebody that I met for 30 seconds. 30 seconds, no dealings with her, boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Then on social media to say, oh, I've got a stalking, that she has a stalking protection order against me, forged a police document. And social media, people just go, boom, oh, see, he looks wrong in him. Yeah. Boom. So anyway, that was that. So that was going on. I'm waking up and like every day, all consuming 22,000 words about me in one post. That, my book, now what available on the bookstores, is 40,000 words. It took me 18 months to write. Okay, 18 months. There's a 22,000 word blog about me that you will find on LinkedIn if you go and search hashtag Brad Burton. Now, the reason I'm not putting any names out there is still ongoing. The court case is on the 22nd of November over in Manchester Magistrates. So the point is that was a byproduct of that I didn't ever say, I'll tell you what, when I start a business off and I build it up, I'll have this. So I've got that going on, which was fucking baby reindeer stuff. So if you've seen baby reindeer, it is that. That's what it was going on. Right. And then I've got my business is fucked because of the pandemic. So I've got financial situations, furlough, bounce back loans, the entire world. I've got thousands of members looking at me. I've got a 200-member mentoring group that are coming towards me. And before, it was great because I had a management team. Anyone got a problem, I'll sort it. Now I've got 200 lots of problems. I've got thousands of members coming to problems. I've got my own problems. I've got wife problems. I've got kids problems. Blah, 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 blah.
Just goes.
And, oh, mate, of a level. And I've got to be strong because I'm the leader. I have to be strong. People are expected. I was doing 14-hour days in this office, videos and and then you're eating. So you're now having coffee, Nescafe 3-in-1s, fast instant, lots of sugar, you call fucking mini cheddars, eating them to keep yourself, so your weight's going wrong, your blood pressure's going up, the pressure's on, the financial, boom. And at 4 seconds, I remember walking and it said, I had this whole thing that said, kill yourself. 4 seconds, and I went, what?
Yeah, like, what the fuck was that?
Right. And obviously I didn't because I'm still fucking here. But I think that's what it is. And I actually think that we are, I think we've namby-pambied a bit about the fucking reality of it. And we're all fucking trigger warnings. I think we've done ourselves a disservice here. I said because what we're fucking doing is we're creating the very conditions that allow that shit to breathe by actually recognizing that as men, you need to get fucking punched in the mouth and learn how not to get fucking punched in the mouth. That's how I've learned. Now that doesn't mean that I want to put people through a fucking a hot cauldron, but you need to have to build resilience up. I go to the gym. The purpose is that it rips a muscle and it grows fucking back. Yeah. If we go to the gym but we're not prepared to rip muscles because it's painful, we ain't ever getting stronger. So I think somewhere along the fucking way, I think that as men, and I don't know how it works with your teachings, but as men, I think we're doing ourselves a fucking disservice. You need to feel the fucking pain, the pain of your decisions, the pain of where you are, and actually there, and group hugs doesn't fix fuck all. It's very nice for the duration where you've got a group hug and saying there. it doesn't fix fuck all. That's my experience. So I'm as real as it gets in terms of what I've encountered through my fucking life and actually how I've overcome it.
It's so interesting because that's where, after 140 hours at least of talking to guys,
Yeah.
a lot of them end up having the same feelings of, firstly, the shit that's happened to you, you can grow from it. You don't have to let it define you. And also, sometimes if life is easy all the time, then actually you become weak and soft, if that makes sense. I know it's was it Peter Sage, who I remember listening to as well, who said, the strongest trees grow in the strongest winds.
Yeah. In all fairness, Peter has ripped it off somebody else, but yeah. I get it.
Yeah. And I know even with him, I forgot his book Inside Track here, where he went to prison. And it's funny actually on him. I remember that moment where when I heard he'd gone to prison, I let all the admiration I'd built up for listening to guys like you and him drop for a second. Like, oh, he's in prison, he must be bad. And then I was like, hold on a minute, like and it would be like you with the stalking. People might have heard that, and you know what? It's like people be like, oh, there's no smoke without fire.
Oi, listen. Fucking, this is where it gets fucking very fucking dark. Very fucking dark. I goes to the police, he says the same. Have you had sexual relations with this woman? I met her for 30 fucking seconds. Are you sure? Let me just check. Oh, that's right. No, I fucking remember now. I fucking fell over and my cock fell in her. No. Fucking, I've had no decent fucking relationships with her. Fucking, I met her for 30 fucking seconds. Like, this is, it's been weird. Like I say. So the default position is this. If you have an office and there's fucking, there's 10 people in there, one person will fucking hate you. You have an office with 100 people, 10 people hate you for no rhyme or reason. Don't like his fucking hair, don't like his goatee, don't like his teeth, don't like his watch, don't like his background, don't like his door handle. Right? You have 1,000 people, 100 people won't like you. I ran a network with 3,000 members. Guess what? Some people are not going to agree with you. And social media, I've got a list of 200 fucking people that went on her threads to support her. Oh, I've heard that about him. Yeah, the looks are wrong. Fucking 200 fucking people. And I'm not going to, but when this is all good, when she gets a guilty, and she will, because she's admitted various things, I'm going to fucking, potentially, I was going to air them out and say, all these people, here's your own comments for you to fucking, just to actually see how you're fucking thinking. But I'm not. I'm going to put their initials in there and say, if you believe that's you, it's probably you. And actually, you need to understand that I was going to kill myself. Fucking kill myself. And then it'd be all lessons have been learned. We didn't mean that. What was bastards? And this is the thing with social media. Dark shit, mate.
Like the government with, lessons have been learned, so it's okay. Whatever we did, lessons have been learned, so that's fine.
Lessons have been learned. Yeah, so listen, I'm she's on bail at the moment, so she can't say fuck all about me. But I think the worst bit about all this was I was unable to comment. I can't comment about it, which is what I want to do. So this is the thing, no smoke without fire. And she's on social media saying, well, why is he not responding? Why is he not fucking, if this is the case, why is he not responding? So now people are saying, why ain't he responding? And now I've got to say, so I'm having 20 conversations in the morning, oh yeah, well, no, because I can't respond, because I can't respond. Fucking hell.
Putting out fires.
Well, you can't, there's no fires to put out. It's just fucking fires, yeah.
Well, one of the Whole Man Academy events, there was a guy who'd, someone had stolen his, identity and had scammed women out of thousands. And then he was getting death threats from like their sons saying, you've fucking taken money from my mum. I want it back. I've found out where you live. And he's like, it's not me. So I know it's an interesting slippery slope to go down.
It is. But once again, when I started out on this business, nobody could have told me, guess what, you'll have a nervous breakdown. I had a nervous breakdown, right? 2.5 years to get fucking back to normal. 2.5 years. The difference is, somebody said, what's the difference in a burnout and a nervous breakdown? A burnout, I've had 4 in my life, 2 weeks. Nervous breakdown, 2 fucking years. Yeah. That's the difference.
Duration.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't wish it on, well, I would wish it on my worst enemy. But the point I'm making is that, you don't realize that, big fucking strong men lifting fucking weights. So, well, guess what? Your brain's a fucking muscle. It's got a finite amount of fucking pep in it as well before it goes, I can't fucking do this. And we need to look after this. This is our biggest fucking tool. I don't give a fuck how big your business is. If that's fucking shot to pieces, you're fucked. Your life's fucked. Your ability to make decisions is impeded. And people under stress don't make great decisions. So I will not make decisions under stress unless I need to fucking make a decision, because I've got nowhere to think about it right now. But I move fast with all my decision-making process, and it's something that I've really majored on. And people say, how can you move so fucking fast with a decision? I'll make a decision in 24 seconds. If I can't make a decision in 24, I revisit in 24 minutes. If after 24 minutes I can't make a decision, I revisit in 24 hours. If after 24 hours I can't make a decision, I just made a decision. It's not important. Move the fuck on.
I love it. That's one of those things, isn't it? That I would say there could be just that little I don't know, little framework, is it, that for some people that are struggling with decision making or procrastination or something like that, you can be like, okay, apply the 24 to it and see how you get on.
24, 24, 24. Let me give you another one for you guys there. Sorry, just assumed everyone's agenda. So yeah, 111. When it comes to making decisions, sorry, when it comes to where you want to get to in your life, in all areas, what is the thing that you should do in the next minute, the next hour, the next day to move that forward? And just keep replaying that. It might be the next week, the next month, the next year. Just keep replaying that. That's how I do things. So say to you know, oh, what, I lose weight. Okay, in the next day, what should you do? In the next week, in the next month, I want to build a business. Okay, in the next day, what should you do? That's it. 111.
It can be overwhelming.
No, but what you do is you're just dealing with what's on your plate. It's fucking great. So my business plan was to be better in the next 2 weeks than the previous 2 weeks. That was it. And I created a multi-million-pound business from fuck all. So if I can do it as a thick fucker from Salford with no qualifications, been addicted to drugs twice. But I'm serious. You know, I've written 4 books. I've written 4 books without. Oh, do you have a ghostwriter? No, this was before fucking ChatGPT. You know, the reality is that you can, but it all starts here. There's 2 versions of me. There's a not so good fucking version, and there's a good version. And the biggest fight of my life and your life is to which version you become.
I love it, mate. And I know we've reached the time where we've covered a shitload of stuff. And I always think it's one day I have this envisaging us doing a podcast in the studio, because I always know a studio is even more fun than doing it on Zoom, to be honest. What's the best way for guys? Would it be your website to head to kind of, I don't know, either buy books or, you know, book you for speaking or whatever it is?
Yeah, so go to bradburton.biz. In fact, go to workwithbrad.biz, workwithbrad.biz. And, you know, I can say connect with me on social medias and what have you. But look, you know, I'll say this to you, wherever you are right now in your life, whatever's going on in your life, if you're in a shit place, it can get better. If you're in a good place, ask yourself this question. If you're playing pontoon right now, would you stick or would you twist? And I'm in a point in my life where I'm quite happy sticking on 18. You know, when I was a young man, it's all about 21. Right now, I'm happy sticking on 18. So ask yourself a question. If you're in a good place right now, do you want to stick or do you want to twist and risk it all?
There's a good question to leave you with. All right. Thank you, Brad. I appreciate your time, brother.
Cheers, Ant. Take it easy, friend. All the best, guys.